This is Race X, a TPP review of race and race relations in America. Not everything is about race, but when race matters to the story, we're going to talk about it honestly, examine the facts, and challenge the narrative.
I wake up in the morning and I thank my God. Many people wish me down, but I still stand strong.
How does a disagreement at a neighborhood swimming pool end with a black mother on the ground having her hair pulled by a police officer? That's what I want to know. This happened in Royce City, Texas. Police were called to a disturbance at a neighborhood pool. And what happened after officers arrived was caught on video. I'm going to let you watch it first because I don't want to tell you what you're seeing before you see it.
Ended like this. In this edited video captured by multiple people, you hear screams and crying as this mother, Janicia Wheeler, is dragged by her hair by a Royce City police officer, who then forcefully pins her to the ground. Her daughter Amaya also cuffed and pinned to the ground there in the white, and Wheeler's young children helplessly watching, calling after her. Things escalated so much an officer palmed faces, shoving two other young women away as they followed police to the car.
See, you don't never see them doing that to no white folks. I don't never see them doing that to no white folks, pulling their hair, dragging them off like they're animals. So you just have to stop right there. I have a problem already. Police were called because there was supposedly a problem at the pool. That's what police do. They respond to calls. But responding to a call doesn't mean the person who called is automatically right. And it doesn't mean everybody standing on the other side of the disagreement is automatically a criminal. That's what I don't like. That's the assumption that's always there. When I watch this video, what I want to know is what happened between the officers arriving and this woman ending up on the ground with an officer pulling her by her hair. What required that level of force? Because they were at the pool? What was she doing at the exact moment that it required that? Because those are fair questions, okay? And I don't want somebody telling me afterward that the situation was chaotic. I can see that it was chaotic. What I want to know is who was responsible for calming it down. That's supposed to be what the police are supposed to do. When police officers arrived at the emotional situation, their job isn't simply to win the confrontation. They're supposed to assess what happened, figure out who did what, give clear commands when necessary, and use the amount of force the situation actually requires. So when I see a woman being dragged by her hair, I need an explanation for why that was necessary. And there's another reason I'm not brushing this shit off either. There are children standing there watching police officers do this. Then they wonder why we don't trust the police. Imagine being a child and watching your mother being dragged around during an encounter with the police. That look doesn't disappear when everybody leaves the swimming pool. Now let's watch the rest of this.
By family and friends, Wheeler is speaking out about what happened.
So I really just wanted him off of her, and whatever he needed to do, that he was gonna do to her, do it to me, versus my baby.
Royce City police say someone called them about a disturbance at the pool. The family calls it a misunderstanding, as they say neighbors questioned whether they lived in the community and were able to be there.
I've never been in any trouble with the police, so I called my mom to deal with stuff like that.
It was almost as if the police officer was disrespected by the fact that this mother wanted to know why is this police officer aggressively handling her daughters and her friends.
The Royce City Police Department said it's seen the video and is now doing a use of force internal investigation.
So now here's where the story really starts to bother me, right? The mother and the daughter were arrested, and then the next morning the charges were dropped. So naturally, I have another question. What exactly happened that was serious enough to require all of that, but apparently wasn't serious enough for the charges to survive until the next morning? Dropping the charges did not automatically prove the arrests were unlawful. I want to be clear about that, okay? But it absolutely gives me a reason to question what happened. And apparently the police department has questions too. Apparently the police department didn't find anything wrong with these ladies because the officer was the officer was placed on administrative leave while the department investigates the incident because they think it was excessive force too. So no, we're not imagining that something about this deserves scrutiny. Now let's get to the racial part of this because this is Race X. I cannot look at a video and tell you what was inside an officer's head. I cannot tell you that every action we just watched happened because these people were black. But I can ask whether race affected how this family was perceived and how they were treated and how quickly the situation escalated. That's a legitimate concern. And here's why. This apparently began with a disagreement involving people at a neighborhood pool. So before we even get to what the police did, I want to know what the original complaint was. Were these people breaking a rule? Were they trespassing? Were they threatening somebody? What exactly required police intervention and a policeman to drag her by her hair? Because there's a difference between somebody making a complaint about you and you actually doing something wrong. That distinction matters. Police officers hear one side of a story when somebody calls. Their responsibility is to arrive and determine what actually happened. And that's where this video becomes uncomfortable for me. I don't see enough effort to slow the situation down, de-escalate the force. People thrown on the ground, children crying, a mother saying she's just trying to protect her child. What I don't see in the video we have is something that makes me immediately understand why it needed to reach this level. Maybe the body cam footage provides information we're missing. If it does, release it. That's why body cams exist. Let us see what officers saw. Let us hear the commands. Let's see what happened before the cell phone video started. Because accountability don't automatically mean the police are wrong. Accountability means the police should be able to explain why they did what they did. And if the force was justified, the evidence should line up with that. If it wasn't justified, then there should be consequences, right? But here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to watch a black person being pulled around by the hair and simply accept the fact, well, police were called, so apparently she deserved it. That ain't how that works. Being the subject of 911 call doesn't remove your rights, okay? Being angry doesn't remove your rights. Arguing with an officer doesn't automatically give the officer permission to use whatever amount of force he wants to. And being black certainly doesn't mean you have to prove you belong somewhere before you're entitled to be treated with basic dignity. That's the race X question in this video. Who gets treated like they belong and who gets treated like they're already the problem before anybody has established what actually happened? I don't know yet whether race explains everything we saw, but I know there's enough here to ask the question why you wouldn't be dragging a white woman like that. I bet you wouldn't be dragging a white woman by her hair like that. And when the charges disappeared the following morning and an officer ends up with an administrative leave, I'm certainly not going to pretend the video doesn't deserve an explanation. The police department is investigating. Good. Now show us what happened. Because this family shouldn't have to convince us that what we just watched looked wrong. We saw that it looked wrong. We watched it for ourselves. They were bogus as hell, and they know it. That's why the officers on leave.
Yeah. Oh, no. Big energy. No, darling. DJ, turn it up. I wake up in the morning and I thank my God. Many people wish me down, but I still stand strong.